This is Greg Viti here with Real Estate Legends. I'm excited to be with the legend that I get to work with every day, Joe Zimmerman.
Thanks,
Joe,
Greg.
thank you so much for coming on to this show. It is really an honor to work with you and at this location and everything else that you've got working here for us. So, Joe, you're a little guy. How many did your parents already have children, or are you the first one?
Yeah, so I am not. I'm actually the youngest in
Oh.
our family. I have an older brother and an older sister that I'm still very close with. And my parents, fortunately for me, are still alive.
Fantastic.
So I grew up in the southwest suburbs of Chicago.
So, where'd you go to high school?
I went to two different. Actually, I went to three different high schools,
Oh, boy.
but I'll name the two that you know. But I went to Hinsdale South for a couple of years. I had a quick little stint in Arizona, and then I graduated from Nazareth Academy in LaGrange Park.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And at that time in your life, what were your interests? Like, what really turned you on in high school?
Oh, I mean, just like any high school boy, right? I played a lot of sports. I was into girls and hanging out with friends, right? You know, I mean, that was it.
What was your sport?
I was more focused on basketball and baseball at the time, and then because of a life event, I transferred from a public school to a private school, and I couldn't play basketball or baseball because of recruiting purposes from the IHSA.
So you did shot put or something?
So no, I wouldn't play football. I wouldn't play
perfect.
football. I wouldn't play football for a year, 1 year in high school, and I ended up playing football in college for a year.
No kidding. So where'd you go to college?
I went to University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was a great school. I loved it. Loved the experience.
And you stayed there 4 years?
I was there 4 years. Besides my freshman year, I lived there during the summers. It was a great experience. I worked at a bar. A lot of my friends had second homes. I don't know if you're familiar with Minnesota, but their second homes are like 30 minutes away.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
yeah.
There's lakes everywhere and there's
Yeah.
rivers everywhere. So,
Yeah, so it was awesome.
what were you studying?
General business.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
honestly, I got into school for general business. I was a worker. My dad and my mom always raised workers, so we started working at a very young age, right? So I was taught that if I wanted to do anything else or I wanted to buy something, it had to be from my checking account. So
Fantastic.
so
They pushed you early. My dad was the exact opposite. He said, "You're going to have to work your whole life.
Yeah,
Why would you start now?
Yeah, yeah.
Go have fun."
My parents
But,
grew up on the south side of
so-
Chicago. So
What got you to Chicago?
I mean, obviously born and raised in Chicago, and then I went to school in Minnesota. If I wasn't from Chicago, I probably would have stayed up in Minnesota. I really loved it. Had a great
That's what
experience.
it sounds like. You
Yeah, it
stayed
was a
there all
great
the winters
experience.
and
It really
summers.
was. It really was a great experience. But I met my wife up in University of St. Thomas, who ironically grew up about 20 minutes from me in the southwest suburbs of Chicago.
Fantastic.
Met up there, so we obviously came back to Chicago, given the beautiful city it is, and all of our family and friends being here.
And what was your first job out of college?
I got into medical. I got into the medical field and was selling medical devices to doctors. And Greg, I had a very fortunate job because it was a cool job. I liked it a lot. But what I didn't like about it was my territory was central Illinois, you know, and
Driving
Iowa,
everywhere.
driving everywhere. All my friends were hanging out in Chicago, having a good time, going out, and I was in Bloomington, Illinois, on a Thursday night. But also what I learned about it is I didn't like being around sick people. So I didn't like walking into a hospital all the time. And when I graduated, I had a baby face. I was a young looking 23 year old. And going in and trying to sell to a doctor with a baby face, they would kind of look at me and say, "How old are you?"
Really? Yeah. Okay, Mr. 18-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. So,
So how long did that go on for? Like 2 years?
It went on for exactly 2 years, roughly. Yeah, about
And
2 years.
is that where you decided to get into real estate, or how did that work?
So how I ended up getting into real estate was because my friends were all hanging out in the city, and I didn't want to rent, but I was making good money, and I worked throughout college. I had money, and I had this aspiration and this hope to have like the Tom Hanks in the movie Big loft, in the city of Chicago. So I went out with a realtor and looked for a loft. We made I think to 2, maybe 3 showings when he looked at me and said, "Hey, you'd be really good at this job. You should consider doing it." He said, "I'm actually going to cancel all of the appointments and we're going to go meet with the 2 principals of this company that's starting in Chicago." And
who was this realtor that was so smart?
That was a company called At Properties.
No, but who was the realtor?
Oh, that was Colin Hepson.
No kidding.
That was
what
Colin
a smart
Hepson.
Recruiter.
Yeah,
I gotta
Colin
give
Hepson.
him that.
Yeah, that was Colin Hepson. The company was At Properties. There weren't many agents at the time. I went and met with Thad and Mike at Toast on Damon, and that was it.
That's where it was like Rich DeVito,
Marty Weinfield,
right? Marty?
Colin Hepson, and really myself. Eleanor Rourke was another one, but she wasn't in the business much longer than a year.
Well, I remember that you got some high-rise listings, and I remember calling you one day and saying, "Hey, man, how are you doing this? That's impressive. Why sell a condo if you can sell the whole building?"
Yeah, sell the whole building, right? Yeah. My path was I got onto developments really quickly, right? Obviously, Mike and Thad had those relationships at the time. Yeah. I was very fortunate, and Mike actually acted as a mentor with me at a sales center up on Sheridan Road, and it was a great experience. I thought, like, man, this is the life, right? I get to work on Saturdays.
They come right in.
They come in. I sign them up.
6-8 deals in a weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yes. Ironically, what happened to that one was after about a month, and I had like 35 contracts under units under contract, and I was like counting my money. The one person walked in that I didn't expect to walk in and didn't know who it was, and it was a developer. It was the developer for 6030 Sheridan. And he asked where Mike was. And I said, I think he's in one of the units, but I don't think Mike was there yet. And obviously we didn't have Blackberries or anything, or even the iPhones at the time. So I just called Mike and said, hey, somebody's here to see you. Well, unfortunately, the developer at the time, when Mike walked in, said, hey, you guys can pack your bags. You're done. We're making a switch. We're changing. I don't know for what reason or anything, but all of a sudden I saw my bank account just deplete, and says, like, woo.
That's one of the tough things about Chicago real estate. I remember actually Thad's wife. She and my friend Joanne were selling a high rise, and I said, you guys, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, we have 120 sales. I said, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I know the principals, and I know they're scumbags.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting put in jail.
Oh, geez.
Over it.
Okay.
Deals did not go together.
Yeah.
So
City of Chicago, I guess.
Tough parts of real estate. So, Joe, how long did you really stick with this high-rise development?
So that was in 2002, right? And I really became fascinated with it, and I was lucky enough to be pretty decent at it. So Mike and Thad hired me to run some sales teams and stick within development. I was doing some outside brokerage. I wasn't doing a ton, but I was doing a lot of it. And a lot of it at the time. I remember hitting 10 million for the first time early in my career. But it was pretty interesting, to be honest with you. It was a great story. Was the sales center ended up being my temperature, my thermometer of like what was really going to go on. And what was crazy for me is I saw the crash happening firsthand. Oh, yeah. Because when people were walking in those sales centers and we were selling, 30, 40, 50 contracts in a weekend, and then all of a sudden it dwindled down to 10, and 5, and then 0. And then all of a sudden there was nothing. And then all of a sudden it was people were returning the contracts. I had an aha moment where I was like, oh man, this is going to get wild.
It's not sustainable.
This is going to get wild. And
it did.
I needed to make a decision on what I was going to do. If I was going to stay there and hone down and work through the developments, or if I was going to go to outside brokerage. And Greg, honestly, what I did was actually, at the time, I look back at it as kind of genius, was I went back and put metrics around dollar per hour of what I was doing and how much money I was making. And I realized that in the development world, it was the majority of my time. But dollar per hour, I was making, call it $200 an hour. And then in outside brokerage, I was making, just shy of $1,000 an hour. And I just said to myself, like, why wouldn't I just do the outside brokerage? Right?
So smart.
So
it's really hard to come to these. We think that we're doing something so great and it's so right, but yet it's not productive to what we can do.
Yeah.
So let's go over this now.
Yeah.
Joe's, what are you, 6'2"?
Come on. I'm over 6'3".
6'3", tall, handsome, articulate. He's got those beautiful blue eyes. That definitely helps in sales. I don't care what anybody says. You're taller. It works well. And so you left that properties to come to Keller Williams to open this branch?
Yeah, well, what happened? There's a story to this, right? You know,
Always.
and I was being recruited like everyone else was, and I wasn't going to be making a business decision for an extra percentage or 2 percentage points. Like, it wasn't worth the move for me. And to be honest with you, you know, I'll give Mike and Thad kudos. They were great. They were great mentors to me. And I told them when I did make the decision that if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been given this opportunity. But what the story was I was getting out of the business. I was so burnt out, and I was operating very entrepreneurially and working very hard. And my wife and I were starting a family, and we now had 3 kids under the age of 3. And we were, and I didn't have models or systems. I just ran. You know, now you have to understand, I ran and I did what I thought was doing, and I was still producing, you know, some years over $90 million.
He was 30 under 30 for cranes.
Yeah, National Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay, National Association of Realtors, 30 under 30.
30 under 30.
I know you definitely got some awards, and I know you hit some plateaus that some people could never. And, you know, to give Thad and Mike some kudos, too, they put up with and learned so much from Bill Sen.
Yeah.
And I think Bill taught them, like, when they left him, they had like 180 pendings. Like, they aren't normal people. Like, Thad works at a different synop than the normal person. And I think Mike is such a good balance for him.
They were a great partner. They are a great partnership today. It's they remind me a lot of Rocket Fuel, right? Of a visionary and an implementer.
Right.
So the book Rocket Fuel.
Yeah, and they really have done a hell of a job. We have to give them credit. I mean, I remember when they were telling me they're going to take over the area, and you know, the Koenig and Strays and all these other Baird and Warners of the world were always so solid and stuff. And they just it almost reminded me like when everybody said, you know, Tesla's worth more than all of the other car dealerships, you know, combined. I feel like that's what they did. They were like the Tesla of real estate.
They were at Who for a long time. But the story was I was going to get out of the business. I was burnt out. I was right before Thanksgiving, and I was about to lose $1 million plus deal. I was really counting on that deal to happen, and I'm not a person that gets really aggravated or shows emotion that much. I'm a relatively laid back person. This one stung, and I walked into my house and said, "I'm done." To my wife, I said, "I don't think I'm going to continue selling real estate." And she was like, "Joe, you've been on, you know, magazines and 30 under 30 and get all these awards and stuff like that. What do you mean you're done?" I'm like, "It's just not sustainable." I'm like, "I don't know. I can't keep running this hard." And I believe in serendipity. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And the next morning, I got a phone call from a guy by the name of Ashley Carter. And you've
Sweet,
been there.
nice guy.
Awesome guy, right? And you've been there before, Greg. It's like, the phone rings and you look, and there's certain people that you're like, I just can't answer right now because I'm sure like a showing agent is late or something, whatever, you know, whatever, and they're going to be complaining. But because it was Ashley and I knew he was an integrous person, I was like, oh, I'm going to answer this. And his words to me exactly were, "Hey, Joe, I know you're happy and super successful with where you're at, and there's an opportunity coming to Chicago, and I think you'd be perfect for it." And I said, "Opportunity?" Well, you know, that was the word that I heard. I said, "What's the opportunity?" And he said, Gary Keller Williams is coming back to Chicago, and they're looking for a leader. And I said, "Keller Williams?" I went, "Hold on, is that the guy with the mustache?" And he was like, "Yeah," and kind of chuckled. And I said, "Oh yeah, I don't know much about them." And he's like, "Well, he wrote The Millionaire Real Estate Agent." And I'm like, "Yeah, I had that book, and I don't know if I ever read it." But anyways, he invited me to what we now know is called Family Reunion, their huge national event. And what happened to me was I was in a world that I never saw before, with entrepreneurship and collaboration and helping each other, and really thinking bigger and following models and systems. And I was like, wait a minute, how did I not know that this existed, right? So I went and did my due diligence and traveled and met with a lot of agents around the country that were Keller Williams agents. And the cool thing about it was you didn't know they were Keller Williams agents because they were the brand, right? It was their names, but anyways, I went and studied with them, and I was like, hey, how do you operate where I work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week? I'm like, you are doing better than I am and home with your kids by 4 o'clock, and teaching some of the times. So anyways, I realized that they were following models and systems, and that's what brought me to Keller Williams.
And so you became an owner right away, right?
Yeah, what happened was there's how we are built, right, is differently than a dependent brokerage. And dependent brokerage, for those that don't know, is Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway, right? Yeah, Properties Compass, they're dependents. We're an interdependent model, and what that means is it's a different belief. And what happened there was the first order of business for you to launch a market center, that we call our offices market center, is to go out and find out who are the most respected and influential agents that people like to work with, and ask them if they had a real estate company that they would never want to leave, what would that look like? And I did that. So I was given the opportunity to go out there and launch a group to launch Keller Williams in Lincoln Park at the time, which we're at today. And what was funny about this was when you went out and asked that question, hey, who are the most influential and respected agents out there? The same names came up.
Yep.
Funny,
yep.
Right?
Well, it's nice that people get to a certain point with their business and they're doing it with integrity, and they're really working together. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's what it's supposed to be. It's always been that way. I have always felt like the team meeting's a positive thing where you really get to find out what other people have and how can we help one another. And that's interesting because I was thinking about that with me. I went to RE/MAX, and RE/MAX was all about marketing yourself and really going to their conventions. Like I could tell when people went to other companies who the RE/MAX agents were, because they're the ones with all the listings, the ones that are marketing themselves. And I feel like Keller Williams really, I feel like it's RE/MAX.
Well, RE/MAX is the independent, right? So if you look at the three silos, it's dependent, right, which is an independent contractor / employee mindset. And that is, again, with no disrespect to them, but that's Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway, Baird and Warner, Compass. Those are dependent models, right? They're the business, they're the brand, and you work for them.
And the company can change their policies, and all kinds of things can happen all the time. And
then you have the independent, which is where you were at one point in time, which is RE/MAX. And that is, hey, you're the brand. There's no training. You just go do your thing, and you pay us some fees and desk fees.
No, they had. I mean, you had to go out and reach out to get the. I was one of those people that was a junkie for all of their stuff. I went to all the conventions. I actually started putting them on for the Midwest. But I do feel like Keller Williams is a refined, really interesting way to do your business.
Well, as an interdependent model, right? So we're an interdependent model. So we're a mix between both of them, right? So we believe, our belief is that you're the business owner, you are the brand, right? And we're here to support you in getting to your goals on whatever business that you want to have. And the cool thing about it is that we're a capping model. That supports that belief, is that at a certain point in time, you stop giving the brokerage money so that you can go invest in your business or in investments or in your life, your personal life.
So what Joe's talking about with this capping model, and I just capped out, and when I was with RE/MAX, I would make this platinum club by March, which would have almost capped me out. But it's been harder and it's been longer. So Friday I capped out. And I just had another closing that I get all of that closing except $100 that goes to the fund for the. So it is a very exciting way to do business. And what happens then is I'm the one who decides where I put my money. Who's going to make brochures for me? How we're going to do it? Who's going to? And also, I feel like Command, which is our CRM, has gotten to be so good and robust that it's very easy for the social media and all the different things that we're using it for. And also, let's give kudos to our technology guru here, Jerome. He's really helped me with smart plans. Just a lot of different way to get zip out to all the other agents. It's all right there, and you don't have to pay your brokerage a huge amount to get these services. if you decide you want to be entrepreneurial and you do want to take a chance at Keller Williams, I really do suggest you come and talk to Joe. And my door's always open. I'm here at the office a lot. I just think that, like, when someone comes to you and they're asking, you must ask them a lot of questions too. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. And the capping model is not the reason, right? I mean, financially is typically always the first thing you talk about,
Right.
is the finances. But to be honest with you, the culture is the number one reason why people operate their business within here. And the motto of that, it's a environment where entrepreneurs thrive. It's a mindset. I mean, I'm just going to be honest, right? Like, and you're experiencing it. It's like, it is a mindset, and the philosophy of there's enough to go around. I want to follow a model. I want to have a predictable business. I want to be a CEO, not a real estate agent. That is sort of the languages that we talk about, right? And again, the capping model just allows us to invest more money into our business and our investments and launch other businesses, so that therefore we could become more profit. You know, I mean, before we get started here, it's like, it's all about profitability. I don't care what anyone says, right? It's like, you know, how much profit, how much money are you retaining? So you can go out there and impact your family, your friends, your sphere.
Thinking of it, it's really shocking sometimes if you take some of the top producers and you break it down to how much they pay for their assistants, for their marketing, for this, for that, for that. Some of them make very little money.
Absolutely.
I've definitely decided, since I've gotten here, to stop it.
Yeah.
To just stop paying for it and then slowly implement little bits of money into it, because so many of these systems you don't really need to put money. It's more about creativity and being focused on who your really target market is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the foundation needs to be built, right? And what you were explaining earlier, it's like, you know, we have to remember that every business, whether you're in real estate, a doctor, a lawyer, a restaurant, a hotel, is always people, systems, and tools, right? And you just talked about one of our tools being Command. Well, that's a great tool, and, you know, ChatGPT is a great tool, but it's the people and systems. It's really the systems that's the pillar that changes everything. And that was my frustration. Was I was good with people. I talked to people. I knew the people I needed to have. There was tools in my life, but I didn't have systems, you know, until I got into this environment.
So why don't you give us some of you have a team now. It changed names. Mm-hmm. Give us a little background on your team and how you run it. And
sure. So I've had a couple of iterations of teams, and we've done anywhere from 225 transactions and over 100 million to where I'm at currently, which is Move Chicagoland. It's myself, a junior broker named Gabby, and a transaction coordinator. And we have really simplified the business to say, hey, we're going to run a 36 touch system to our sphere and past clients. We're going to touch them 36 times a year.
Wow.
I have now decreased my database to 350 people, because I know that those are the 350 people I know, like, and trust. They know, like, and trust me, and I want to work with them. And I run a 36 touch system to them, and we'll sell 35 transactions. It's just a model, right? It's a model. It's a proven system that we do. So to me, the experience that I had when I got into the world of entrepreneurship with Keller Williams, we've launched other businesses. So now I have other businesses that can fund the money that I was once making, you know, selling over 100 million. And now I have more. What's most important to me is I have more time. I have more time to work on myself. I have more time to spend with my wife. I have more time to spend with my kids. That is what drives me, is that I have the financial wherewithal to do it and the financial backing to do what I want to do. But also, I don't have to worry about where the next deal is coming, because I have multiple sources of income now. And I know my real estate business is going to produce X amount because I follow a proven model.
That's fantastic. So do you do much with the profit sharing here at Keller Williams?
Yeah. It's I like to call it the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae.
Will you?
Yeah, sure. So the belief is, if you help grow the company, you should be rewarded for it. That's the simplicity of it to me,
ABC.
right? I think that works, right? If you help grow the company, you should be rewarded. And I'm not talking like rewarded like, oh, here's a dinner, or here's a watch. Tickets to yeah, right? And I could talk about that. But it is or Bulls tickets. It's money. It's actually money. I mean, it's money. It's your money. It gets invested. I'm sorry, it gets deposited into your checking account the 21st of every month. And it's not a job. It's just, hey, if you believe in what we're doing here and you go and tell people, it's not your job to go out there and attract them. We have systems for that and people for that. I would go and meet with them and talk to them about them and do a needs analysis, ask them what their goals are. And when they join the company and they say, I said, hey, Greg Viti gave me your name. Obviously, he would be your sponsoring broker. You would receive profit share. It doesn't have anything to do with
and that happens when they cap out, right?
It actually happens while they're paying a cap. Yes.
While they're paying a cap.
While they're paying a cap. So as they do production, it doesn't. The only person's money that it impacts is the market centers, because it doesn't impact yours. It doesn't impact theirs. It is, we give 49% of our profits, and by the way, kudos to us. We have been profitable for 38 months straight in this market.
Beautiful.
Right? We've been profitable 38 months straight in this market. When you do that and you run a profitable business, we profit share 49% back with our agents.
So that's a very nice part of this whole, just like right now we're in this podcast studio that's actually in our office, and the Market Center gives us a couple of podcasts a month. On the house, and I just choose to interview the house.
Thank you. Yeah.
So now we're up to what,
362 agents as of today.
Wow, that's
right?
Jumped up from last week.
Yeah, absolutely. 362 agents as of today, and great people. Honestly, great people. I mean, I hear what the chatter that goes on out there, and there's not too many bad things that are said about us.
That's
right?
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that all the top producers that come here every day, we all have great conversations. It feels like there's many mastermind meetings happening a lot. I do like the way people share. Like Megan shares her story so well,
right.
And they all do.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that when you have that collaborative feel, it makes it really exciting to come to work.
Yeah. Well, Greg, Stanford University wrote a white page essay, a couple of them actually, and the last one they wrote, I believe, was in 2019. It might be a little earlier, but they wrote a white page essay on the culture of Keller Williams. Pretty impressive, right? And when you read it, it's trying to get an understanding of why everyone's so giving, and how everyone wants to collaborate and help each other. And remember, like in the dependent model that you've been in before, my experiences was, you're my competition, I'm not sharing. Where this, and you have an experience as well, is, hey, how can I help you? Right? Because we believe that we're better together. We believe that there's enough to go around. We have a high level of training and accountability around the training.
Win-win or no deal.
Belief system is there. That's a question I ask a lot of people. What's the belief system of the company, right?
Mission statements.
The mission statement.
Business
statement,
plan.
Business planning.
Yeah, these things seem so obvious to me. Like
Right.
I'm always shocked when you start talking to people and you ask them basic questions about their business plan, what their belief system are. They really don't have one in place.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest another huge aha I had was, I would ask people, I would say, hey, especially like newer agents, I'd say, hey, where do you want to go with this business? And they would always say, like, I want to get to $10 million in volume. And I'm like, okay, well, what's important to that? How whatever. But I also ask them, how are you going to do that? And they like looked at me like a dog about to get a treat. Like, well, I don't know. And then I would say, well, how many appointments do you have to set to sell $10 million? They didn't know. And I was kind of like, wow. So you're essentially playing pin the tail on your donkey with your
you
business.
really don't have a clue.
You don't have a clue. You're doing it blindfolded.
I remember when I first started, I was like, well, I'm going to touch 20 people in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And to really touch 20 people in a day, where you really get through to them, or you really touch them and talk to them, that's hard.
Yeah.
And I would do it. And
Right.
sometimes I'd be doing it till 10 o'clock at night. I didn't care. I was so driven. I was like a maniac. I was just calling it. And so now I think of it differently. Okay, I want to get to 10 million. well, I'm going to sell a $20 million deal, and I'm going to up it to $40 million.
There you go.
Let's go.
There you go.
But, you know,
Yeah.
there's something that you can't buy experience.
Right.
And you can't give someone your confidence.
Correct.
But once you are confident and you understand the language well, and you know you're really going to be of service to someone, it feels like it's I don't know, the Jewish people call it a mitzvah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's really what
Yeah.
it feels like to me. Like,
Well, I would say that's a great point. And what I would say that confidence comes with predictability, and predictability comes with proven models and systems.
right.
So, I've been doing this for a long time, and most of our career we didn't have predictable businesses. We now have predictable businesses where we know what to expect. I always go back to, I forget who said it, I think it might have been Abraham Lincoln, that the root of all controversy is the mismanagement of someone's expectations. Right? The root of all controversy is the mismanagement of someone's expectations. Well, if you don't know what to expect from your business, you're having controversy with yourself. Right? So that was part of my struggle, was I didn't know what to expect the next year when we reset. Now I'm running a well-oiled machine in multiple businesses by following the millionaire real estate agent model and the principles on that, and I know exactly what to expect on all of these businesses.
So I know that you've been speaking at some places, and do you write, or do you plan on putting out some articles or anything? I know that you have such a great perspective on things.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for that compliment. I like to share. I do like to share, and I have currently been sharing with our people. Right. So, whether that turns into something else, I don't know at this point in time. But what I will tell you is I really like taking care of the people who are here and giving them the content that really matters. I'm actually writing something right now that I'm going to put out to the rest of the market center.
Yeah. Is that a monthly thing right now that you're putting out?
Yeah, I'm doing the 36 touch.
Kind of give us what we could put out, your
Yeah.
36 touch, to help other people
Correct.
to try to motivate them to do the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is interesting.
Simplify it
Yeah,
for
when you
people.
get something that works and it's simple and it's easy and it's
Simplify
fun,
it.
it's a
Go
wonderful
figure.
thing to share with people.
Yeah, go figure. Yeah.
Is there something else that we're missing that we should be sharing about Keller Williams?
Well,
One Chicago.
I think probably the most like unknown secret about Keller Williams in general is that it's not a farce, that it is truly run and built by agents. If you think about it, it's run and built by agents. I'm not the boss here. I mean, I'm the operating principal as my title because somebody has to hold the money accountable. But the agents and the ALC, the Agent Leadership Council, they're the boss. So think about what has happened over the last week, Greg. And you've been in a couple of different places, right? I've been in one other place. For me, I would be uneasy if I woke up and didn't know, because again, the root of all controversy is the mismanagement of your expectations, of what my commission splits are going to be next year, or what my business cards are going to look like, or what is the plan, or how am I going, like, what am I telling my database? What am I telling my people? That could not happen here. It can't happen with Keller Williams because we have an agent leadership council, which is pretty much acts as a board of directors, and we have it internationally as well. And all of our paperwork and our franchise agreements, it restricts us from doing that because we truly put the agent first. Period. End of story. You can't debate it.
Well, I feel like the leadership that's been put in place since I joined here has just been phenomenal.
Absolutely.
And right now, with our newer office, we moved up to the 4th floor at 2211 North Elston. We've got a big skylight. We've got a lot of light. We've got a lot of private offices. And
Rooftop deck.
Bullpen, a wonderful roof deck.
Training room.
High
tech, yeah.
And
parking.
yeah,
22
we have
parking spots.
22 parking spots. So we also have a couple of new offices open. There's one right next to mine if you want to come over and collaborate with me. I would love that opportunity.
You would love that.
So, Joe Zimmerman, this is your life, buddy. I'm so excited you're here, and let's do it again soon.
I appreciate you. I have gratitude to you, Greg. Thank you for having me.
Greg Viti, Real Estate Legends, signing off.